We will never forget her or her sacrifice. But we must also not forget that her death is not the first murder ICE has on its hands. 32 people have died in ICE custody just in 2025, and 2/3 of the 1,800 detainees held at the Alligator Alcatraz concentration camp are still missing. Keith Porter, a Black California resident, was murdered by an off-duty ICE agent on New Year's Eve, less than a week prior to them killing Renee. His murder, too, was justified by a false narrative pushed by DHS that the officer who killed him feared for his life, a narrative contradicted by eyewitnesses. Miramar Martinez, who also was legally observing ICE in Chicago, was shot 5 times by ICE agent Charles Exum, who bragged that he fired 5 rounds and she had 7 holes. Put that in your book, boys. Miramar luckily survived and defeated her charges of domestic terrorism. But 2025 was yet again a year with well over 1,200 deaths at the hands of law enforcement nationwide. And there were only 6 days the entire year that police didn't kill anyone. Here in our city, our police force has its own long, bloody history of murdering Black and Indigenous people and justifying it after the fact by saying they feared for their lives. Minneapolis Police Department lied about George Floyd being on drugs to shield Derek Chauvin from responsibility for his torturously slow death. Philando Castile was murdered in his car with his girlfriend and child present. Jamar Clark's killers lied and said he was a domestic violence suspect that reached for their gun despite him being handcuffed when he was shot. Amir Locke was asleep and they killed him within seconds of entering his apartment because they thought that he had a gun. His killer, Mark Hanneman, not only faced 0 consequences, he got a promotion. These deaths were just as wrong as Renee's. We must understand Renee's murder not as an isolated tragedy, but a link in a long chain of brutality that Black, Indigenous, and Latino communities especially have borne the brunt of. Until we accept the reality that law enforcement, whether it's DHS, ICE, FBI, or local police, have and will fabricate justifications for the murder of anyone they feel threatened by, we will not end the violence of this system. Until we accept that the foundations of law enforcement in this country are racist, that the laws and practices of these organizations began with Jim Crow and the expulsion of Native peoples from their land, we cannot end the violence of this system. Change begins with honesty. The honest truth is that we are paying for the boot on our necks. Our taxes pay for the bullets that kill our neighbors. They cannot exist without us, and yet we have no say in what they do in our neighborhoods. Ending this cycle of violence and inaction only happens if we take control and win real power over the structures that govern our lives. We must demand independent, democratic civilian oversight of all law enforcement, including the Minneapolis Police Department. We owe it to the people who we've lost and the people who still have justice denied to them. We need community control, and we will not stop until every killer, cop, and agent pays for their crimes. TCC4J joins the community's demands to release the names of the ICE agent who murdered our sister, prosecute, and jail him. And we join people across the country demanding that ICE get the hell out of our cities right now. Justice for Renee